I married a woman who was paralyzed. When my friends and family heard, they all thought I'd gone mad. But I married her anyway, without a second thought. I cared for her for 5 years. 5 years of cleaning her, changing her, dressing her, and then today, 5 years later, she sat up in bed. My joy turned to shock when her eyes met mine, cold, sharp as a razor. A voice I didn't recognize sliced the air. "Don't touch me with your filthy hands." That spring the first Pythia bloomed 5 springs since. Catherine Pierce had lain still, but now Catherine looked like a butterfly breaking free from a chrysalis. She seemed reborn as she sat up in the bed she'd occupied for so long. Overwhelmed, I lunged forward to hug her. Instead, she recoiled and hissed, "Don't touch me with your filthy hands." Her voice was like a scalpel on metal. Her movement sent the stack of sketchbooks on the nightstand toppling to the floor. 1,825 sketches. One for every day I'd cared for her, each a portrait of her face. I snatched a single page from the air. I remember this one day, 1,534, when her finger twitched in her sleep, and I'd sketched the tiny arch of her brow. Catherine had been paralyzed from the neck down. She had no feeling in her body, but she could move her head a little, form a few broken syllables. She could see me, hear me, know me. I was certain she'd been aware of everything I'd done for 5 years. I even remember drawing the 520th sketch when she'd strained. Scraping out a few syllables, "I love you, husband." It had been the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. So I couldn't accept that she could forget those 1,825 days, forget everything between us. I swallowed my confusion and knelt, collecting the scattered drawings like pieces of my life. "Catherine," I said softly, "I know you've just gotten your movement back. A lot has happened in 5 years. This must be overwhelming. It's okay, I'll call the doctor right away." Before I finished, her icy voice cut me off. "Stop dreaming, Cole. Did you really think I wanted to be your wife?" She sneered. "Have you already forgotten why I married you 5 years ago?" My hands froze. A searing pain stabbed my chest, and the page I held crumpled in my fingers. Her words unlocked something I'd buried. Our marriage was never about love. It was about a contracted piece of paper. For 5 years I'd bathed her, dressed her, kept her like a proud, sleeping princess. I'd been so focused on those 1,825 days that I'd forgotten how it began. A sound behind me made me turn. Catherine, who'd just woken from paralysis, was walking. If she'd truly been paralyzed for 5 years, even with my daily exercises, how would there be no muscle atrophy? Yet she moved with easy grace, nothing about her gait suggesting recent recovery. In that instant, I understood the contract's true meaning. "Then why did you ever say you love me?" I asked. She, who had been in bed the night before, now stood naked from the waist down, not bothering to cover herself. She walked to the closet with casual familiarity, pulled out an outfit, and dressed as if this were normal. She looked angelic, perfect, but her face was frosted over, hard. She met my frozen stare and asked coldly, "Have you had your fill of looking?" Her words left me speechless. "You should be grateful," she said dismissively. "You should remember your place. Who do you think you are? You're not worthy. If you ever look at me like that again, I'll gouge out your eyes." "My place?" "I'm your husband," I managed, taking 2 trembling steps forward. "You said it yourself." I reached to grab her shoulders, but my hands hovered uselessly under her frosty glare. A smirk flickered on Catherine's lips. "You're so naive," she scoffed. "You actually believe that?" With a cold laugh, she turned and walked away. Our room. The one we'd filled for 5 years suddenly felt enormous and empty. I stood there amid the scattered sketches on the floor, lost. Some of the sketches even had footprints on them now. Catherine's footprints. I remembered one in particular, day 625. I had held that exact drawing up for her to see. She'd struggled with the syllables, but her meaning was clear. In another day, 1,348, she'd looked at that sketch and managed her longest sentence yet. "Husband, when I'm..." It took her 5 full minutes to get those words out, sweat beading on her forehead. We both smiled so brightly that day. Now that same drawing lay crumpled and torn under her heel. A physical wave of pain washed over me. It finally hit me. The woman in front of me was not the helpless woman who'd once struggled to ask for a hug. The pain in my chest went black and I passed out. When I came to, I was on the living room sofa. Someone had moved me. On the end table was a gold-leafed envelope. I picked it up like a sleepwalker. A single document slid free, a divorce agreement. The asset section read, "The husband voluntarily relinquishes all claims to shared assets." Catherine's cold voice floated from across the room. "Mr. Harrison, there are $5 million on that card. Consider it your nursing fee for the past 5 years." She sat across from me in a couture gown, one leg crossed, a red stiletto dangling from her foot. 2 well-built bodyguards stood behind her. Then the truth hit me. The paralyzed wife I'd cared for was the daughter of the chairman of Pierce Industries. Everything snapped into place. The headlines from 5 years ago. The family feud, the missing eldest daughter, the chairman's sudden recovery and rash decision to disinherit his children, and right when chaos had settled, my wife's miraculous recovery happened too. It was all too convenient. I realized I'd been a pawn in a long, cold plan to secure an inheritance. I had to give her credit. What a ruthless strategy. She'd been willing to do whatever it took. As she'd said earlier, "You're so naive." A strange clarity washed over me. The sharp pain in my chest dulled. I pushed myself up from the sofa, took the pen, and signed the divorce papers. I tossed the pen and the papers back to her. "So when are we finalizing this?" I asked. "Tomorrow," she replied. I assumed that, as the sole heir now, she wanted me gone as soon as possible. Instead, she surprised me. "Not so fast," she said. "I haven't fully secured my inheritance yet. I'll need you to keep playing the part of my husband a little longer. It wouldn't do for me to get a reputation for being disloyal. Could interfere with my plans." Plans. I laughed, bitter. 5 years of devotion had been nothing but a calculated move. Any warmth I'd felt evaporated. I met her cool gaze and spread my hands. "As you wish. But when you're ready, set me free." Something unreadable flickered across her face. Then, almost softer, she said, "You did take care of me for 5 years. You're not nothing to me. Think of this as a transition period for both of us." The words sounded absurd. I pointed at the papers. "If that's true, why is this divorce agreement here?" Her composure cracked for a heartbeat, anger flashing in her eyes. Then she smoothed her expression back into cold indifference. "If you think that way, fine. Who are you? Who am I? In my world, you were someone I bought to take care of me. Hired help." She seemed to be trying to provoke me. "But you can't wound a heart that's already dead." Her words didn't move me. I was nothing but a pawn. I stayed in the house. Catherine, consumed with securing her inheritance, was rarely home. I thought the days would pass until we signed the papers until one afternoon. I came back from grocery shopping and found Catherine with another man. They were on the floor among my 1,825 sketches, clothes in disarray. They hadn't expected me. Catherine scrambled up in panic. "What are you doing back so soon?" She looked exactly like a cheating wife caught. The man calmly buttoned his shirt. "Darling." Then, with a smug grin, he ripped one sketch in half. Day 1548, a drawing of Catherine's gentle smile. My fists clenched. Blood surged through me, my eyes burning red. "You're dead," I lunged. The next moments were a blur. I only remembered the searing pain in my knuckles. Julian's pretty boy face, twisted in agony. And Catherine, running out of her room in a silk nightgown, screaming. When I came to, I was in a mediation room at the police station. Julian sat there, his face wrapped in thick gauze, shrieking hysterically, demanding my arrest. I stayed silent. The officers, worried things would escalate, separated us and placed me in a quiet room. As I sat there numb, a warm paper cup appeared beside my hand, steam rising from it. A gentle voice said, "Here, drink some water. Calm down." The sound jolted me like a key unlocking a locked memory. I looked up. A woman in a crisp police uniform stood there. The cap shadowed her face, but I could still see her graceful figure and striking beauty. She smiled at me. My throat tightened. The name slipped out. Chloe. Her lips trembled. Her bright eyes shimmered. Then, in the next second, she turned and hurried out. I almost stood to follow her but froze, sinking back into my chair with a bitter smile. Chloe Davis. My closest friend from 5 years ago. After I signed that marriage contract with paralyzed Catherine Pierce, we never saw each other again. I thought I'd lost her forever. I never imagined our reunion would happen like this. Before long, Chloe returned, her expression calm again. Julian agreed to settle, she said. He's already left. I was surprised. His perfect face was wrecked, and yet he'd agreed. Chloe chuckled. You're still the same. Always speaking your mind? Then her tone grew serious. Your wife has influence. She pressured Julian to drop it, but she was the one who cheated. It's the least she could do. She quickly waved her hands. Sorry, I shouldn't have. I shook my head and smiled. It's fine. Catherine and I are already divorced. Really? Chloe's eyes lit up, her voice rising with sudden joy. When I left the room, Catherine and Julian were gone. I thanked Chloe and was about to leave too, but she asked me to wait for her shift to end. I gladly agreed. That evening, we had dinner together, then ended up at a late-night diner, sipping Cokes and talking for hours. Memories came rushing back 5 years that had felt like a blank void suddenly filled with light. Chloe and I used to do this all the time, sit in places like this, talking about everything and nothing, dreaming about the future. Everything had changed with that one contract. A pang shot through my chest at the thought. By the time we said goodbye, the diner was empty, the staff half asleep. We exchanged numbers, finally restoring the contact that had been broken for years. That's when I noticed my name had been in her phone all along, with a string of unsent messages, each marked with a little red exclamation point. When I got home, I unlocked the door to a dark apartment. I didn't think much of it. Catherine was rarely home anymore, and after today, she was likely tending to her boy toy with the battered face. I slipped off my shoes and stepped inside. Click. A lamp flickered on. Catherine was lounging on the sofa. Legs crossed, silk nightgown draped around her. I knew the feel of those legs. I'd cared for her body for years, but now I felt nothing. My mind was filled with Chloe's bright, innocent smile. Catherine spoke, her voice as cold as ever. What are you smiling about? Catherine's question startled me. What was I smiling about? From the moment I'd seen Chloe earlier, the smile hadn't left my face. Not even when Catherine once managed to whisper, "I love you," had a smile felt so easy. But there, she was indifferent. An irritation rose in me. What I'm smiling about is none of your business, I said coldly. My tone seemed to throw her. She rose from the sofa and came toward me, clutching that thick stack of my drawings. On top was the very sketch Julian had torn, now taped back together. No matter how neatly you mend paper, a torn drawing is still broken. She stood before me, brow furrowed, voice full of that same condescension she'd worn when she made me sign the divorce. How dare you speak to me like that? Don't forget your place. I laughed shrill, liberated laughter. My place has nothing to do with you, Miss Pierce. She didn't expect that. I moved past her, heading for my room, but she grabbed my arm. I'm not finished talking to you, she started. I shook her off, my voice flat. I'm done talking. Her eyes went wide as if she'd seen a ghost. Then she lunged, snagging my shirt and holding a single long strand of hair up to her face. She trembled, went pale, and shrieked theatrically. Cole, whose hair is this? Where were you so late? You were cheating on me with some man, weren't you? I looked at the hair and knew it was her own. Chloe's hair was short. Was Catherine losing herself? She hurled her accusation anyway. I didn't try to explain. I just smirked. You're the one who looks like a high started, and she screamed, you bastard. Before slapping me, the slap ignited something cold and white-hot in me. I hit back hard. My hand connected, and she stumbled onto the sofa. I grabbed the collar of her silk gown and snarled, What right do you have to lecture me? We're divorced. I'm not your husband. Who was it that brought a pretty boy home and did that in front of my face? You have no right. I struck her again. She was a mess hair must, the poised facade of Pierce Industries gone. Whether from the blows or fear, she stared at me blankly, eyes vacant. I let go and left, not to my room this time, but to leave this place for good, the house that had been my prison for 5 years at the door. Frantic footsteps. A small figure wrapped her arms around me from behind. Catherine's voice broke. Cole, don't go. Please don't go. Husband, don't leave me. I love you. I really, really love you. Her words stopped me. A flash of the old Catherine motionless in bed, straining to force 2 small words flickered in my mind. My hesitation must have given her hope. She turned to face me, gripping my arms, tears in her eyes. Husband, listen, Julian and I are nothing. He's just a substitute. I need him now to secure the inheritance at Pierce Industries. I have to use his family's resources. Once I have the company, I'll toss him aside. We can remarry. I was thinking of you the whole time. Her confession made my stomach churn. Disgust washed over me. I shoved her away. She stumbled back. I didn't speak. Over my shoulder, I threw one word. Get lost. She froze. I didn't see the tears that finally slipped down her cheeks. I left the house without looking back, my mind a blank. The cold night air, doing nothing to clear it. On instinct, I knocked at a nearby door. Chloe opened it, wrapped in a bathrobe. Seeing me, she immediately noticed my state distraught, shaken in, her face went serious. Cole, what's wrong? Are you okay? Chloe's eyes widened, but I silenced her with a kiss. I didn't even know why I did it, only that in that instant I was ruined. I had probably just shattered the fragile friendship we had only begun to rebuild. She pushed against me at first, but her resistance faded quickly. When I woke again, I was in Chloe's bed. Her head rested softly on my shoulder. I felt like the biggest fool alive, staring blankly at the ceiling, one thought running through my mind. What have I done? Chloe stirred, rubbing her sleepy eyes with a smile. At my answer, her face lit up with a bright smile. Good. She leaned in, brushed her lips against the corner of my mouth, then slipped out of bed without looking back. I'll make you breakfast. It's been 5 years, but I'm guessing your tastes haven't changed. Later, I returned to the house I once shared with Catherine. This time, I'd made up my mind. To hell with the contract. I was packing my bags, breaking free from Catherine's chains once and for all. My hand trembled slightly on the key, maybe because of what happened with Chloe last night, but I steadied myself. I hadn't done anything wrong. Why should I fear? I opened the door. No scene, no shouting. The house was empty. I let out a small laugh. Of course she had her inheritance to chase and Julian to entertain. I packed quickly. On the coffee table, I set down my key. That's when I noticed the sketches scattered across the sofa, all 1,825 of them, damp with tears. Someone had gone through them one by one. But that no longer mattered to me. As I left with my suitcase, one thought echoed in my mind. The past is gone. A new life begins. That night Catherine called. I hadn't blocked her yet. We still had to finalize the divorce. Cole, where's your suitcase? Where are you? You can't move out without my permission. Come back right now, you're my husband. Her voice was shrill, desperate. But I glanced toward the kitchen where Chloe was cooking. Apron tied around her waist, and answered calmly. The inheritance. Do you still want it? She went quiet for a moment, then snapped, Cole. Can you please stop being so difficult? I hung up. She called many more times. I never answered. She even sent people to track me down. Sometimes she ordered me to return. Other times she begged, pathetic and weeping. She'd lost weight. Her confidence was gone, but I could still see the hickeys on her skin. She wanted everything, Julian, the company, and me too. In the end, she lost. We finalized the divorce at City Hall. Walking out with the certificate in hand, I saw Julian waiting for her. He looked worn down himself. I just smiled. Take care of yourselves. Julian snatched the paper and waved it in my face. See, Iksubi? What I want, I get. Once that might have enraged me. Now, I only looked at Catherine's grim face, then back at him. "You're proud of winning that?" I gestured at her. "Impressive." He turned red with anger. I smirked. "By the way, I know a great plastic surgeon. If you're unhappy with that nose, I'll pass along his number." Julian clutched his nose and stormed off. I laughed, but Catherine planted herself in front of me, eyes burning. "You just wait, Cole. As soon as I secure my inheritance, I'll get you back." I looked up at the sky. "The sun hasn't even set, and you're already dreaming." She bit her lip. "Those sketches. All 1,820 of them. I saw them. I know you still love me." 1,825. I corrected coldly. "And yes, I poured all of my love into them. But you're not worthy." Those were the last words I ever spoke to Catherine Pierce. I never saw her again, until one day. On the first morning of my honeymoon with Chloe, the hotel TV ran the news: heir to Pierce Industries gravely ill. Eldest daughter returned after 5 years, diagnosed with a malignant disease. Possible link to Vance family heir. I couldn't help but laugh. Julian sleazy, shameless Julian getting sick wasn't surprising. "What's so funny?" Chloe's voice teased beside me. I shut off the TV. "It's our honeymoon. Of course I'm happy." Her smile was even brighter than mine. She bounced into my arms, holding something small in her hand. "Honey, I've got something that'll make you even happier." In her palm was a plastic stick, 2 dark pink lines glowing back at me.